Some weeks are full of fascinating news, and some weeks are full of other stuff. Let's look at some of this week's worst moments in this installment of the Cringe Awards. First up, this week, the official Twitter account of Ukraine's defense ministry tweeted this gem. We send them $100 billion and we get Mid-Journey art and a crappy Black Sabbath song. Also, Harry always struck me as a Twisted Sister guy. Harry Potter is basically the ruling mythology of millennials. The Distributist on YouTube made a video about this. You've got the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Malfoys and their secret group of magic racists, the Death Eaters. Then on the other side, you've got a young ragtag group that includes a mixed-race girl, a poor kid, and the teenage messiah. And of course, they defeat the racist Death Eaters and their leader with a German-sounding last name. And they didn't even need billions of American tax dollars. Our next nominee, Target. Conservatives have called for a boycott of the store over its Pride Month collection. Conservatives boycotting Target. Any day now, I expect a video of Kid Rock shooting a pile of tasteful hand towels. And just how bad is their Pride collection? Well, for one, it includes female-style swimsuits that have room to tuck a penis. Back in the day, a trans swimsuit just came with a pair of hedge clippers. They're also selling Pride-themed clothing aimed at young children and babies. At this point, Target should just change its name to Walmart. Bud Light alienated working-class dudes. Target is alienating Christian moms. This could be a bloodbath. Target has confirmed it will be removing some of its most controversial Pride Month items in rural locations, but still display them prominently at most stores. It's basically the real-world version of this image. And as many folks have pointed out, Target doesn't have other brands to fall back on. Bud Light is one product from a larger corporation. Target is just Target. After all this blew up in an internal email, Target executives told staffers that they still stand with the LGBTQIA+ community and also consoled them on the anniversary of the death of George Floyd. These people are making $17 an hour trying to put food on the table, and the executives want to remind them of the folks who really have it hard. We've tried to boycott Target before, back in 2015 when they jumped on the trans bathroom stuff, and it didn't do much, but the energy has shifted. We'll see what comes of this one. Next up, the White House U-Haul terrorist. This Monday, a man drove a U-Haul into the barriers around the White House, leaving a Nazi flag laying on the ground. A literal false flag. This is so lazily written, I'm starting to think the FBI hired WGA writers under the table. Also, right-wingers don't rent a U-Haul to attack the White House. They rent a U-Haul to move to Florida. And these days, the only place you can get a Nazi flag is the FBI offices. Usually, terrorists plan a little better than this. It's like if the Coen brothers made a movie about a dumb terrorist. The driver of the truck was charged with 5 crimes, including threatening to kill, kidnap, or harm the president, vice president, or family member. Presumably, he was going to kill them with his flag. But in a move that makes even Ray Epps jealous, the charges have been downgraded to destruction of property. And finally, there was this week's cringy presidential announcement.
Hello, North Charleston!
No, not that one. Our last nominee is DeSantis' Twitter Space. The Twitter Space with Elon Musk and Ron DeSantis was held on Wednesday, and it was awful. It started out with 20 minutes of mostly silence while everyone tried to join. It felt like listening to an audio-only Zoom call. Then the space crashed, and it moved to a different person's Twitter account. They blamed the crash on high attendance.
Man, I think we melted the internet there.
But the space peaked at around 700,000 listeners, and a few weeks ago, Elon had hosted a space with over 3 million listeners. Then once everyone got on, Elon said this.
Get a sense for how a candidate really is, and where it's not just canned speeches and teleprompters.
Then they threw to Ron for the big announcement, which was a long scripted speech.
Well, I am running for president of the United States to lead our great American comeback. Look, we know our country's going in the wrong direction. We see it with our eyes, and we feel it in our
It made me wish I could listen to a live event on double speed. Then they spent the first few minutes talking about how free Twitter is now and how free Florida is now. Then they asked him about this. This week, the NAACP Board of Directors issued a travel advisory for Florida advising black people that the state is openly hostile to them. The NAACP issued a travel advisory like they're meteorologists. I think it's great. Now the only black people in Florida will be the ones who don't care what the NAACP says. Oh, also the chairman of the board of the NAACP. I guess he wants all that hostility for himself. DeSantis' answer to the question focused on Florida's low crime rate, but they aren't talking about physical safety. In their minds, banning CRT is violence, which means Florida is also openly hostile to this lady. And the worst thing about doing an announcement on a Twitter space, no audience. The conversation felt stilted and flat. It doesn't help that it came 2 weeks after Trump's CNN town hall, which just turned into a high-budget Trump rally.
Former President Donald Trump.
Ben Shapiro said that those who were obsessed with the optics of all this wouldn't vote for DeSantis, but people who are interested in political substance would. But people don't vote for an abstract list of policies. They vote for a person. You don't move people through policy details. One reason people like DeSantis is because he's not as bombastic as Trump. They prefer his optics. Policy is important, and optics are more important than many people think they should be. But this is what DeSantis said when he was asked later that day about one of the largest political issues of our day.
How would you address the ongoing war in Eastern Europe between Russia and Ukraine on day one of a Ron DeSantis presidency?
Well, first, I think what we need to do as a veteran is recognize that our military has become politicized. You talk about gender ideology.
Yeah, the worst thing about the Ukraine war is how woke it is. On the other hand, Trump's policy talk is pretty simple. Finish the wall, end the war, bring jobs back. But his movement can't be reduced to a list of policies. Right-wingers should support whoever will be the biggest wrecking ball against the left. The morning after the big Twitter announcement, the top 5 trends on Twitter included Tina Turner, Spider-Man 2, and Nicki Minaj. And what's that at number 6? Hey, Governor DeSantis, we're trending. Oh, cool, let me see. Let's not. I heard Stu Burguiere say that Trump runs the news cycle, and that's true. DeSantis just doesn't have that power. And the polls are looking better than ever for Trump. Here's the man himself talking about it.
Today's very, very important and big Emerson poll came out. So it has Trump at 62%, DeSantis at 16%, Mike Pence at 7%.
So to recap, we have Ukraine Harry Potter, trans target, the FBI's U-Haul terrorist, and DeSantis' awkward Twitter announcement. Who do you think deserves this week's Cringe Award? I'll look through the comments on YouTube, count up the votes, and announce the winner next week on Canon Plus. If you haven't joined up yet, use promo code WADE99 to get your first month for just 99 cents. Link in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.